What's good? It's your boy Memphis. Make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Today we get into I died and went to hell. Let's get to it.
Every weekend we go to the clubs. We go to the clubs looking for girls, we're smoking some weed, we're drinking in their life, right? So for us, it's a tradition to go get new clothes. You go to the club, you gotta have a new outfit. So me and my friend, we're gonna go shopping during the day. We go shopping, but I kept seeing this one guy, okay? First we went to the clothing store, I come out, he's sitting on his car. And this is something in my spirit says, something is not right about this guy. But I looked at him, he said, what's up? He said, okay, what's up? We go to another store. I come out, he's outside the second store, way on the other side of our district. It's like, there's no way you can keep running to the same person. So I thought it was, wait a minute. Now my spirit really was tugging on me, like something is up with this guy. So again, I looked and he said, he's sitting on his car outside of the store. So I tapped my friend and said, hey man, this man is following us. This guy, and my friend laughed, he was like, dude, you're not that important. Nobody following you, man. Quit it. You're nobody to be thinking about. Stop it, you're paranoid. Okay, I brushed it off. So later on, I come out 2 or 3 hours later, we're dressed, I'm ready to go out. I come outside the building, guess who's standing there? The same guy. So this time I said, okay, I'm about to question this guy and ask him, do I know him from somewhere? Where is he from? You know what I mean? Because enough is enough at this point. My spirit is telling me I need to find out what's going on. As I'm walking and approaching the guy, he had a cigar in his mouth. And he said, do you have a lighter on you? I said, yeah. And so as I'm reaching in my pocket, I saw a green flash. It's the first thing I really remember. It was a green flash, okay? Now, it just seems like, I don't know if things go in slow motion. You know, when your body experience traumatic experiences, you either black out or time slows down for you, okay? And I'm noticing how God put that in as a safety mechanism for your body, for us, so we won't be over-traumatized by the experience. But as I look up, I smell like, I don't know if you know what matches, like if you would burn a whole book of matches, like the sulfuric smell,
yeah,
that's what I smell. But as I look up to him, and hit me again, wow, again. So now I'm looking at him, but he had this look on his face, and it was demonic. But it was like a I got you look, like a, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But the second time, I'll fall back. But as soon as I'm falling back, I feel myself falling forward.
Okay.
It's hard to explain.
That's crazy.
I'm falling back, but yet I can feel myself falling forward, and instantly, it was instantaneous. It was just like that. I was in darkness. But like I described before, this darkness is not a darkness like here on earth. It's not like you can blindfold yourself, like you can put yourself underneath the earth, super blindfold yourself and dig deeper. And it's still, this darkness is alive. You understand? It had a spiritual component to it, to where I felt that it was all over me, like it was holding me. But as I'm falling down, I can't even calculate the speed. But as I'm falling, the more I'm falling, the more I'm feeling things getting stripped away from me. Meaning such as like hope, love, all the stuff that we take for granted here that we don't realize that come from God, they're stripped from you as you fall into this place. Okay? I want people to be aware. Don't take anything for granted. Because as I was falling, it's beyond, like I was saying before, like at first, the terror. It's not fear, it's terror, and it's alive. It's a spirit. It's alive in that place. In the darkness, it's alive. It was alive. It was like the darkness had a consciousness of its own, and it was stripping me of everything good. So as I'm falling, it's so fast, and I can't even think clear. I'm falling because people don't understand. Just say, for example, if you're here conscious like we're talking right now, we're communicating, and then all of a sudden you're taken to just a whole other place, instantly. It's instantaneous. There's no slow build up to it. There's no nothing there. It's boom, okay? And I'm falling. And I'm feeling this fear, but the speed of the fallingness, I can't even explain it in words, no matter what language, no matter what. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual component to everything. Now that I'm hindsight, the more that I'm mature in my spirit, I'm realizing that it is all spiritual. The spiritual life, I was in my spiritual body, okay? I'm falling. Now the first thing that hit me was the smell. The smell. You see, people don't understand. I'm going to explain it again. When you pass away, you don't lose your five senses. You know, sight, hear, touch, taste. No. They heighten. They get more potent. So they raise times 1,000,000. So you become more sensitive. They don't go anywhere. They get stronger.
Damn.
So like if you were to smell this smell right now, the smell that I was smelling, there's no way your body would be able to take it here on this earth. There's no sewer, no dead bodies, no dead animals, rotting flesh. There's nothing that can compare to this smell. Okay? It is so bad. It is just, but as I'm falling, I'm just like, it's just overwhelming, this smell.
Man, this shit deep.
And then all of a sudden I see a little light. It's a little light, because this darkness is so dark. You can see the light on the like a top of a pinhead. It's bright compared to this darkness. So to see that little light, I'm thinking, but as I'm falling, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Then all of a sudden I felt heat. I can feel heat coming from this light. But I wasn't even, now that I'm looking at it, I wasn't even paying attention to the heat because I was so scared. I'm smelling this smell, but I'm starting to see it looked like a big portal. But this portal looked like it was rocks, okay? So I want to explain to people, hell is here on earth, but it's in a different dimension. Okay, just like when I start learning scientific principles on different dimensions, it makes complete sense. Just like I'm sitting here right now,
going deep with this shit, y'all.
Going through me that I can't even see, like microwaves, radio waves, all types of things, but they're vibrating on a different frequency. So you can have two places in one space because of different dimensions. So hell is on earth, but it's in a
Makes
different
sense.
dimension. All right. Yes. So now as I'm falling and I'm seeing this portal, and it's open. As it opened now, I'm pretty much right there, and I can see every detail. Now remember, your senses are heightened. You can see a molecule if you wanted to, if you focus and zoom in on it. I mean, that's how pinpoint accurate your senses are in the spiritual body. Now I'm looking, and it's rocks, like stones, ancient rocks, caverns, but I fall through, and I hit the bottom. Now when I hit the bottom,
so the opening is like rocks.
Yes,
circular.
It's like you're entering the cave system.
Okay.
It's like I was falling into an ancient cave system. That's the best way I can describe it. But the rocks were glowing. Everything on the rocks was so hot. They were like yellow, orange, white. They were hot. They were so heated. That's the little light that I was seeing. When I got there, I knew exactly that was that opening. So when I hit the bottom, I slammed so hard, but I didn't even feel that pain like that, because when I tried to move, I was so more worried. I was like, I was just panicking so bad. I tried to move and I couldn't move the way we move here. It felt like I was wearing a big heavy suit, like I was weighed like 900 pounds. Yeah. So just like I'm moving my arms now, I can do this and that. No. First of all, you feel like instantly I felt I had no energy. And what that was, now that I realize, is that we're so used to being in our physical body. We're so used to things of our physical nature. Like I couldn't breathe. When I was trying to breathe, it was like the lips. Like I couldn't even breathe. It's because I wasn't breathing in the first place. There's no oxygen in that place. But we're so used to being here, just like we're breathing now. We're unconsciously breathing. So I thought I was trying to breathe. So that makes my anxiety there even worse, because you're so used to being in this flesh. You think you have fleshly movement. It doesn't work that way. You're stripped of everything. Remember, you're stripped of everything God gave you. So even having movement, even that comes from God. See, we don't realize that. Even breathing and just...
Man, this is something to think about, y'all.
That was stripped. You get stripped of all of that by the time you make it there.
Were you thinking about outside at all, or you weren't even thinking about the earth?
No.
You were just focused on this place.
Yeah. You're so petrified. You're so scared. You're not thinking about anything here. You're not thinking about a person. You're not thinking, at that moment, you're not thinking about anything. I was so shocked and going through, and the fear and the anxiety and just everything. You're not thinking, that's the last thing you're thinking about. You're not thinking about any of those things.
So when you realized where you were, what happened next?
I'm trying to get up, and it was so dark. It was just as dark, but all of a sudden, the only thing that illuminated that place, the first thing I saw before me were the pits. And they were like, flames were coming up. And then you can see when these flames come up, that's how you can see. But when the first pit lit up, I saw it had to be thousands, as far as your eye can see, of these pits. and they were connected in rows, but they would go so far, like, I mean, it had to be miles and miles and miles of these pits. But inside these pits, there were people, okay? But what really caught my attention before I described the people in the pits were these beasts around all the pits. They were like giants. Some of them were like, and they all had like a reptilian kind of thing to them. They all looked like reptile, nasty, deformed. Some of them had long arms, short arms, with a long arm bodies. But the giants that I saw, some had to be like 13 to 18 feet tall. I mean, huge. I'm talking about ripped up muscles, huge. I mean, they were
humanoid. Were they humanoids?
Humanoid, yes. They had legs, they had arms, they had, chest, muscles. They were very humanoid, but not even close to humans. Not even. They were so ugly, and the smell that I was smelling, they stink. It was them. It was them. Yeah, they stink. They horrible smell to them, horrible smell, and a lot of them smell like sulfur too. Like that's why a lot of people who I've talked to who had experiences with demons, they always smell like a sulfuric smell. They stink. They smell bad. They're horrible. But then I also saw demons as tall as this pen. They're small. You got some. They all sizes, all shapes, all sizes. But some of them had red eyes, some of them had yellow eyes with the slits in them. And some of their skins were scaly. Like I said, they had the reptile, like the reptilian type look. But some of them didn't have the reptile look. Some of them were just so deformed and ugly, hairy. It just didn't make sense. Some of them were just so disproportionate, it didn't make any sense.
Did they notice you when you fell?
No, not right away. Not right away. One of them did, and that's how I look back, because I never saw the Lord. I never saw the Lord. But now that I look back, He had to be with me to be protecting me, because the hatred that they have for us, it is beyond description. It is beyond words. They hate. There's no form of hate here on this planet that can even get close to how they feel about us. They hate you so bad, you can feel it. The energy will kill you. If their hatred was in the form of a weapon, here on earth you would die. You would die. They hate. When I say hate, hate is an understatement. Hate would feel like love compared to the hatred that they have for us. Literally. Yeah. But as I looked at the pits and these people, some of them were like charred skeletons, burned up skeletons. Some of them had flesh hanging off of them. Okay? And the thing is, they were trying to crawl out. And now, because once you get there, you know that you know. You know pretty much everything. You can see a person in hell and know why they're there. There's no time there. There's no time that you have to take to learn, because everything is connected. So you know that you know. And they were there to guard the people from coming out the pit. They had these spirits and these ancient things that people were trying to crawl out. They were sticking them, grabbing them, especially the big giant, grabbing them and throwing them right back into the pits and the lava. What got me though, like I was saying before, I forgot to mention, was the screams. The screams and the yells. Okay? It moves your spirit. The sense of the way these people were screaming and in agony.
Man, leave comments, man. Let me know what you think, man. I want to talk about this, y'all. I got more coming too. I got more videos coming.
That place is going on right now. And that's what reminds me every day. It's happening right now as we speak. People are there right now. And it's so many people. It's so many people. But as I'm trying to get up and I look, and I'm looking at these pits, I'm just, now I thought I was already scared and full of anxiety. Now it's just beyond. And see, it keeps growing. There's no limit to fear in the spiritual realm. Just when you think, okay, I'm maxed out on my anxiety. I'm maxed out on my, no. It keeps growing and it doesn't stop. There's no limit to how fearful you become. I'm trying to get up. All of a sudden, I felt something grab my head, and I can see the claw. This thing had to be huge, and it threw me. And when it threw me, the strength of this thing, it was like me picking up this pen and throwing this pen. It was like it was nothing. So I don't care what people say. Oh, I will go in down there and I'll fight. No, I'm sorry. No, it's not happening. I don't care if you're the strongest man on earth. You have nothing.
It's like you had no control, right? You have no control.
You have no control. You have no strength. It's like you didn't eat in months. You don't have no nutrients, no kind of muscle, none of that. That's out the window. That comes from God. And anything that's not there. So you can try your best if you want to, and there's nothing going to happen. So as I got hit this wall. But now as I noticed as I'm once again. Lord had to be with me because I didn't feel, because of the force that I was thrown, I would have felt, I knew I was going to feel the pain. Because one thing I'm going to explain to everyone, like I explained before, my testimony is that here in the body, we have a nervous system, right? So if I was to touch you and just pinch your hand, you would feel it only on your hand. In the spirit world, there is no such thing. If you get hit in the hand, you feel it through your whole body simultaneously at the same time. You won't feel it just in an isolated place where you got pinched. You will feel it all at one time. From your head.
So pain also is more intense as well.
By a million. And that's an understatement. It is, see, because the spiritual world is people don't understand. Everything here physical is the leftovers from the spiritual world. That's why the Lord said your thoughts are more realer. That's why you get judged by your thoughts. Because that's what the real is. It's not, your action is just a reflex of your thoughts. So now I know what the Lord means by that, because the spiritual is way more realer than this. Everything here physical is leftovers from the spiritual world. That's why I say the pain is more real, your senses are more heightened, everything is more intense, way more intense. Okay? Now, that's why I say when I got flung and I knew the Lord was there with me, is because I didn't feel, I expected so much more pain. But it wasn't. I felt pain, but it wasn't what I knew in my mind when I was calculating that it should be. But as I look up, I'm on the side, and it's like a stone mountain. But in the mountain were jail cells. Rows and rows of these cells as far as your eye can see up. And I grew up in skyscrapers my whole life, and I know what it is to live in the sky, literally. But these things were so high, like they were built into the side of a mountain, and there were rows and rows of cells, like the old cells, not like the modern day jails with the door with the slit. No, the bars, and they look ancient, rusty. But instantly I knew, all of a sudden I started looking, and you can see people, activities, in all of these different cells. But then it would be like 3 feet apart, it'd be stones, another cell. Stones, another cell. Stone, 3 feet apart, like just estimating. 3 to 2
and all the way up.
All the way up. The same way I saw the pits, all the way going across. These were all the way up as far as my eyes can see. Literally. I couldn't even see it no more, but you can still see cells. And instantly I knew these were ancient. I knew that the people were there for thousands of years. Thousands of years. I mean, I'm talking about biblical times. They've been in there since. People can't even imagine, because time, see, like we're so used to time here. You can't imagine no time. There is no time there. Time stops. There is no time in the spirit world. It doesn't exist. Time is only used in the physical manifestation for us to organize things and keep schedules. It doesn't exist. All hope is gone when you're there. There is no, at least, like for example, I was explaining. Back when I used to live my back life, because I did go to jail a couple of times. I was in jail, okay? I had hope because I had an out date. Right? So you say, okay, I'm getting released in 8 months.
Yeah, you got that reg date.
That gives you some hope that I'm getting out of here in 8 months. But when you're in hell, there is no out date.
Yeah,
there is no time. There is nothing no schedule. There is none of that.
Yeah, it's stuck like Chuck.
You know you're there.
Dang, that's some deep shit.
I knew I deserved to be there. That was the thing that really got me. I had no rebuttals for me not being there. Okay?
So you weren't crying for mercy, you weren't calling out to God, nothing like that?
No. And that's another thing. See, people don't understand. The things that I was hearing, you had a lot of people calling out to God. You had a lot of people asking for 5 more minutes, 1 more chance. Please, I'm sorry. Let me make it up so you can hear everything. That's another thing I want to add. When I was talking about the 5 senses being heightened, you can hear everybody screaming at one time, but you can individualize every person. You can individualize every scream.
Man, this is wild.
But then I heard a lot of blasphemy towards God. I heard a lot of anger, a lot of cursing God out. I heard a lot of Big time. People were angry.
Only people were making sounds, the demons weren't making any sounds, or whatever those creatures were.
Demons, yeah. That was, I was going to get to that. When the demons were communicating with each other, they have their own language. And that whole language hurt my body every time they talked. Every time they talked.
So you never understood what they were saying?
Oh yeah, you understand everything. I'm going to use the term, you overstand everything that they say. What they was communicating back and forth, they were calling us stupid humans. When they were grabbing and torturing humans and doing all types of things, they were calling us stupid and they were laughing. They laughed, they enjoyed it. Because what I found out and what I saw myself through my experience is that they get energy off our pain. They eat it. It's a form of food to them. It's like a drug to them. They get high off of it. That's why they're here on earth. They keep us depressed, angry, full of anxiety, because they're feeding off that. That's their food. They literally eat that. So they cause situations for you to feel that way so they can eat. They eat off that. And in hell, they have an abundance, non-stop supply of food. Because all they do is torture. They say if your arm gets ripped off, your arm will grow right back. Rejuvenate. And it happens over and over and over again. Like I say, I saw tons of people there where they were ripping over their mouth and pouring hot lava down their throats. They'll melt and then come right back and they'll do it all over again. And then they invite other demons to come and get their turn. Like I was also mentioning about promiscuous women.
Torturing folks, man.
But I saw, my experience, I saw majority of what I saw was the women being raped by demons. This one lady was being raped and tortured so bad sexually that I'm not going to say it on here, but it's beyond horrible. But I'm talking about, it's and then some of the tortures are so bad. I still to this day I can smell a certain smell, especially matches. I don't like the smell of matches at all because it brings me back to that. It reminds me of that. Yeah, it does, like PTSD big time. I don't like that. But
your wife said you said something about. I think it was the last one I listened to actually. You said you saw pastors and people like that there. Could you explain?
Yes, you know what? And I saw, and a lot of them were still dressed in suits. Okay, there was like a cavern, like a cave, and a lot of them were just sitting there like they were waiting. Well, the demons would come in, especially the giant ones, and snatch them up and throw them in boxes. They were throwing these pastors in boxes. They had all types of stuff to them. They had all types of, like they had a field day with the pastors, the fake pastors. I'm to be honest. A lot of them were just misusing their authority that God gave them. Okay, one example, they threw this one pastor in a box, and it was an old nasty box, but the box was filled with hot coals in it. So when they throw them in it and they close it, you can hear, the screams are beyond, like, you can feel it. You can feel it's just the anguish and the pain. And they were throwing these things in them. They were stabbing they were ripping people apart. They were eating people, especially the pastors. They had a real good time with them. They were enjoying, like, really. A lot of people who I saw were a part of the church. Like I said, you can look at somebody in hell and know why they're there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like if somebody was to look at me, they'll know why I was there.
The people that were in church, what were some of the sins that they did? Like
I saw more gossipers in hell than anything from the church.
Wow.
Gossip, backstabbing, lust in the church, right? But the most of all was the gossiping, because people don't understand the power of gossip. They don't understand how powerful it is, how you can hurt somebody's life for just, you know what I mean? It was so many people down there for gossiping, you know. They smile in your face, but then, oh, look at Sister Clark, or look at Brother so-and-so, but then you're in church praying with them instead of praying for them. See, when you talk about somebody's problem, you better have a solution. If not, it's gossip. Plain and simple. If you're going to talk about someone's problem, you better be willing to help that person. If not, don't talk about it and stay out of their business. Because that's serious. God doesn't play with gossip. And I saw that firsthand. God does not play when it comes to gossip.
And the pastors that were there, were they like fake pastors in the sense of like, what were they doing exactly? Like, what did they do?
They were popcorn Christians. What I mean by popcorn Christianity is the term that me and my friends came up with, because they're okay, like a popcorn kernel is hard, right? A kernel of popcorn. But when you apply heat to it, it puffs up and it turns soft. That's what they were. They were acting like they were really hardened for the Lord, that they were really solid. But then the heat and the pressures of the world turned them soft and they became worldly.
Okay.
And they're fake.
So
They use the
worldliness.
word, yes. And a lot of them are, like I always say, intellectual parrots, meaning they know the scriptures, inside and out. They sound good. They sound, but they don't live them. They don't live them. They fool the people.
Hypocrite.
That's why I tell the people, it's not up to the pastor or your deacon
Faking
or
to
your
make
bishop to
When
establish
they gotta
a
pay
personal
taxes and
relationship with the Lord. That's up to you, because a relationship with the Lord is ultra personal. It's not their responsibility, and you can. Even the Lord says, "Don't follow a man because you never know who you are following." So why they think, "Oh yeah, brother told me to do this," or sisters told me to do this, and yeah, they're a man or woman of God, they lead you right to hell.
Wow.
Because you don't have.
I heard you said unforgiveness too. You said unforgiveness too.
I was
Right?
going to mention that next. The top two. The top one is gossip. The next one is unforgiveness. You know how many people say, "I forgive, but I won't forget"? That's not forgiveness. See, when God forgives us, it's deleted from the universe. It's gone. He doesn't remember. Clearly doesn't remember. You can try to say, "Hey, Lord, remember I did this?" He's going to say, "What are you talking about?" Because it's been deleted from his heart. We don't do that. We say we forgive you and still have in the back of our mind reservations and judge that person and still kind of say, "I'm just going to, and I saw so many people there for that. See, people don't understand. Yeah, we unqualify and disqualify ourselves from going to paradise. Paradise in heaven cannot have 1 ounce of filth in it. If so, you were corrupted. So that's why we need the Lord as a mediator to make sure he washes us from that. Because we're all imperfect. We're going to fall. We're going to have flaws. But our relationship with him and his grace, he washes us clean from that so we can enter paradise. Because you cannot have one blemish on you. It's like if you have a fresh basket of apples and you put one in with a little mold on it, what's going to happen to the rest of those apples?
The whole bunch is going to be spoiled.
Exactly. So therefore, we disqualify ourselves for getting into heaven because we're so blemished. And then we think we can do it on our own. We can't do it without him. There's no way we can cleanse ourselves the way we need to be cleansed to be on that frequency of heaven. So we disqualify ourselves all the time.
Some people would say that they would say, well, you know what? Once they're covered, and like the pastor, for instance, he's okay even if he mess up. Like he's covered, past, present, future sin, and the other gossipers or people with unforgiveness is fine because you're covered.
Sure.
And that's something that people say. Like I saw another testimony of a pastor in Africa, a very, very gripping health testimony. He said it was unforgiveness that caused him to go to hell.
See? And that's what I'm saying. And those who say that, they obviously don't read the scriptures. Because clearly, in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26, said, if you commit a sin, and you know thereof, that it's a sin, there is no sacrifice that can save you. See? Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. So all that once saved, always saved, that comes from the pits of hell itself. It's a lie. It's a lie. If that's the case, I might as well go back to the life I used to live. I got saved, so I might as well just go, let's go kick it, man. Hey, let's go have fun. Let's go do what we need to do then.
Those are fighting words, right? Because in health testimonies, you always have people in the comment section that talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. They always talk about it, even when I shared my outer darkness experience. So when you spoke about the little pin, the light, I saw that. My thing was just at this pitch black place that looks like a cave, right? I found myself in this place. Mm-hmm. And when I realized, just like you said, the hopelessness, there was a palpable sense of, as you said, you cannot get out. You know that you're stuck there forever.
Yes.
And this hopelessness was beyond anything I can describe. And when I realized where I was, I cried out for Jesus, and then I saw a little light, like a little pinprick of light, way up in the distance, and I bolted to it. And when I jumped through the light, that's when I leaped out of like my bed, and it's a very traumatic experience for me. Like, so I understand.
Yes,
I never experienced what you experienced, but I got a little glimpse of the outer darkness, and that was enough for me to understand that it's not something to be messed with. And I was a Christian.
Right.
I was a believer at the time, but I was lukewarm.
Yep.
I was a lukewarm believer at the time. But continue from, you saw the bars, and you saw people inside the bars and the ancient, like some people from like way back when.
Yeah, from ancient Persia all over. You can clearly see, you can clearly tell, like these things and these people were just there for thousands and thousands of years. Even the garbs they were wearing, some of them were skeletons, some of them, like I said, were just like ancient, but the color of their flesh was like a smoky gray darkness. It wasn't, you can't tell what race they were only by their features, but they were from all over, but they were very, very ancient. And I knew they were there for astrology, witchcraft. This like all of them were there for worshiping other gods, worshiping Baal, worshiping demons. Like all of this was like a dedicated section to those ancient ones who were worshiping other false gods, and then led other people to worship false gods. See, it's one thing that when you sin alone, cool, that's bad enough. But when you bring others to sin with you, when you become contagious and you're sinning, it's way worse. You have way worse judgment that falls upon your head. So that's what I say. Hey, if people make your own choice, but don't bring nobody with you. Don't make nobody fall with you, because you're going to be held accountable, not only for yours, but for theirs as well.
So what was some of the regret? Like some of the things that they were saying, like, that they were sorry about, stuff like that. Regret.
This is it, because I had the regrets. I had the review. I call it the great review. Because it comes a moment when you're in there where he shows you every detail, every conversation that you heard someone that you didn't even see, and how that causes a ripple effect in their life. Every bad thing I did, from even stealing the candy bar when I was 7 years old, to every detail that you ever did. Now, I don't know if people remember, in the Bible it says your own flesh will testify against you. See? So my own flesh was testifying against me, to me. And that's when I had the feeling that I have no right to get out of here. That's when I had the feeling that, you know what, I deserve this. That was when I came with a feeling, an overwhelming feeling where it hit me that, dang, I deserve to be here. There's no way I'm getting out of here. Because you have so many people screaming, please, let me make it up to her, or let me make it up to him. Give me one more chance to go save, like it was just so many things of regret that they wish they can do one more time to make things up to people. The things that they said to people, the things they physically did to people, the things that they stole from people, the thoughts that they were thinking about people, the gossip that they did someone and made someone lose their job or lose their reputation because of gossip. Even false gossip is even worse. When you just make up things about somebody because you're jealous of them.
That's
There's
crazy.
a lot of people, the spirit of jealousy. See, hell is very organized, and people don't realize this. Hell is so organized. It has a spirit for everything. A spirit for everything that you think is just you. No, a lot of the times, okay, I'm going to say this loud and clear. Everyone is accountable, okay? Your flesh, you're accountable for your own actions. So I'm not going to blame everything on demons. I'm not going to blame everything on the devil, because we do have accountability and responsibility for ourselves. But what I am saying is, they don't have the power to make you do anything. But what they do, they're great manipulators and they're great influencers. So your flesh by default will go with the choice of the demons by default, because your flesh is so weak. So they know how to manipulate your flesh to make these decisions. You see what I mean? So people need to realize that. But then, back to answering your question, the most things, like I said, that I was hearing them say is they just want one more chance to get it right. They want one more opportunity to make things right. It was just like, if somebody have been asking for 30 seconds to be on the earth. I don't know what somebody can accomplish in 30 seconds, but I mean, they're asking for time. They're just asking, can I just go tell this person, I'm sorry what I did to my mother. I'm sorry what I did to, you know what I mean? It's just so many voices from so many different levels. And all we have to do is apply our own experience to answer that question. But I don't want to wait again till I pass away again to make anything right with someone. We need to do it right now while you're here on this earth.
Amen. What happened after the bars, right? Because I remember you said you were on a cliff after or something like that.
Yeah, that was towards the end. I was going to wrap it up. Because this is towards the end, there's a lot more in between that. But we can, maybe another time, God willing, I can come on a platform and explain. But I was on a cliff, okay? And it was people on the right side, people on the left side. But when I looked, it was a desolate forest. And there was a path in the forest, but these trees, it wasn't a regular forest. These trees were dead. These trees it was just like a dead forest. It was black sands, black and gray sands, okay? But when I looked further up, that's when I felt this place. The whole time, I was in hell, but I call it pre-hell. But when I saw that place with these gates, I mean, it had to be 80, 80 feet tall, 50 to 80 feet tall gates, old rock, stone castles. I knew that was hell. I knew for a fact, if I passed those gates, I'm not coming back. And so as I'm standing on the cliff, and that's why I want to tell people, when you're in hell, there's no fellowship. That's why this part I want to make it clear that the Lord obviously gave us the opportunity, because there was a long line of people in these chains, okay? And they were coming and they were walking on this path, but each on the side of them like guards, almost like prison guards, but they were demons. Some of them big, some was walking, so these people wouldn't try to run off the path. And they were marching in towards the gates, towards that gate. But one person noticed and looked up. Now I'm thinking that the person noticed the Lord behind us. But then gave them an opportunity to start screaming towards us, don't come here. Don't. They were screaming in all different languages, and I'm looking at the people on this side, looking at the people on this side of the cliff, and they were screaming, don't. They were like giving us utter warnings. Like, don't, please. They were begging to not come. And when you can feel the sincerity and the fear and the terror, it is beyond. Just by looking at that place and hearing them, I knew. I said, my next step is I'm about to be down there in that chain gang, heading on that path. But all of a sudden, it was just like the same force of a swish, because around when I went to different compartments in hell, it was like I was teleporting. It was boom, boom. He was taking me. So now I know that was the Lord showing me. But all of a sudden, I felt that same back. But when I came, I got slammed into my body.
No, I was showing you where you gonna go. You keep playing around with him.
How long did it feel like it was? You said it's timeless, right? But how long did it feel? Did it feel like you were there for a long time?
I feel like I was there for months.
Wow.
It felt like I was there for months.
Like Earth months, like our months. It felt
all months here on Earth. It felt like I was there for months. And I was only there for like 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Wow.
So your wife said you were pronounced clinically dead.
3 minutes and 47 seconds.
What was the most memorable thing maybe that happened during that time in hell when you were being, shown different things that you want to share?
What sticks out to me, all of it to me was equally, but what sticks out in my mind was, I call it the human shish kebabs. Where the giants were taking these big rusty poles, and they were taking humans and they were taking them from underneath, and they were putting them on these poles, like 4 or 5 at a time, and then they were carrying them around. Like, they put these spears through them. These spears are huge. And they would take the body.
Damn, they're torturing them folks. 24/7, 7 days a week.
And then stuff another one while you're screaming and moving, and then they'd pick you up, and I don't even know where they were carrying them. But to me, I still even get I still visualize it. I can still feel it. I can still smell the atmosphere. But to me, besides the females getting raped, the men's getting their genitals cut off, sexual torture, and I call it the human shish kebab torture. To me, it really, 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 those are the two that really stick out to me, really much so.
So in terms of senses, right? So I want to give people like a sense of maybe like what is it like a daze feeling, like you're in like a dream-like state, or is it like very vivid, or do you feel like what you feel now, like what's it like a dream state?
Have you ever had a dream? See, there's a difference between dreams and messages. Have you ever had a dream where when you first wake up, you're glad to be here, and you look and say, "Whew, I'm glad that was just a dream." So imagine that type of feeling magnetized times 1,000. It's more realer than me experiencing talking to you right now.
Wow.
It's even hard. Like I say, there's certain emotions that I feel, that we feel as human beings on a daily basis, that you can't even put into words, right? The descriptive part, I'm just getting close to it as I can, because there's some things that I can't even fathom to put in a human language, any language. There's no words, because everything there is so impactful, so powerful. It's energy. I can't even calculate how people. Yeah.
And some people say it's fake, right? And that's the thing. When I read those comments, I feel, I'm just like, man, like, what do you have to say to people who don't believe? Like, people who hear stuff like this and they're like, oh, it's fake.
But guess what?
What do you say to them?
The demons love that. The demons are clapping, because the fact is they don't want you to believe, so you can get there. See, hell does not need your belief. Hell doesn't need you. Actually, they don't want you to believe, because how can you fight an enemy that you don't believe exists? that means you already lost. So they
That's
want
some
you.
real
So
shit.
listen, my job is just to deliver a message. I don't debate my experience. I don't have to debate it, because one thing we all have in common as human beings, we're all going to die. I'm just telling you. The Lord told me I don't have to debate anything. My job is just to tell you my experience, my testimony. People can do what they want to do with it. But I'm just telling you, like for example, if you're in Japan right now, if you come to the United States and say, the jails in the United States are not real, well, go break the law. Watch what's going to happen. The jail that's waiting for you don't need you to believe in it. It's sitting there waiting for you. It's a cell with your name on it, your little cot with your name on it. It don't need you to believe in it. So people who I want to say that, they don't want you to believe. So I ask you, I don't, like I tell people all the time, there's 1.8 and some more million gods that are worshipped on this earth. Okay? Why is it that our Lord and our Father God, especially Jesus Christ, is the only one picked on? Why is he the only one mocked? Why is he the only one out of 1.8 million known gods that are worshipped? Why is he the only one made into a curse word? Why is he the only one so disrespected? Because he's the truth. That's why. Plain and simple. I don't argue no more with people. I don't have to. They take his salvation, they take his messages, but trust me, everybody's going to be held accountable. I'm not here to scare anyone, but one thing that, especially in the Proverbs, says, fear is the beginning of wisdom, right? The fear of God. The fear of God is the
Man, click that like, click that subscribe button, leave comments, let me know what you think, man. Until next time, I love y'all 100.
Show me, Lord, if you're really real, show me that you're real. What do you have to lose? But for all the naysayers, I don't violate your free will just like our Lord. I'm not here to force you to believe. I'm not here to debate with you. I'm just telling you, I'm just passing on the message. Like the UPS man, what does he do? He delivers your package and he leaves. Whatever you do with the package is up to you. That's it.
So I know we're kind of